Plagne in France, high up in the Alps. We are some 2,000 meters or so above sea level in the cloud, and it is snowing as we get ready for the final run of round 5 at the Wiesmann FIBT World Cup. It's the second heat of the 4-man bobsled. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Martin Haven, and I'm delighted again to welcome back to the booth alongside me Olympic champion and race winner here, Kaylee Humphries. Kaylee, Bert Hefti leading after the first heat by 0.2 of a second, but behind him, it's anybody's race still to win.
It really is. You've got the two Russians. They've been strong this whole entire season, and especially this race, but it is really close. It's going to come down to consistency at the starts, having no major issues, and driving. Kasianov, young up-and-coming pilot, really great to see. Russia 2, right in there in the medal hunt. You've got Zubkov, the most consistent, hasn't lost a 4-man race yet this year. So we'll see if Plagne will be the first that he loses, or if, you know, he can make it up in second run and beat Hefti.
He needs to try and keep his streak alive to stay in touch with Kaylee Humphries. And that's just for this season. But Bert Hefti won in 2-man last week, his first World Cup weekend. Leading here, 0.2 of a second. Looks like it might be a comfortable margin. It
is. He drove exceptionally well yesterday, and I think, you know, we're going to see him drive exceptionally well in second run. It'll be a tight race.
Well, it's snowing, the air temperature just below freezing, ice -3. That might lead to a little bit of frost at the beginning of the run. Now, after 28 sleds started the first heat, only the fastest 20 go through into the second, and they will go in reverse order of their first heat performance, 20 down to 1. There's Stephen Holcomb, the 4-man Olympic and world champion. And here's our start list. Lamond Dean, the 21-year-old young British bobsled pilot in his second ever World Cup weekend. He will be 20th. He was 20th, he'll be first off. And Lyndon Rush of Canada, well, he had an awful time. Didn't look, Kaylee Humphries, as though it was that dreadful a drive. It just was horrible. He was 19th and will be way out of touch of a good result that he was looking for. Just
not fast, yeah. The guys, I mean, they started well, drove decently well. It just wasn't all there and definitely didn't come together. And 19th is, he's going to be devastated with that.
Well, Lamond Dean of Great Britain is at the top to get our second heat underway. Originally from Manchester, he's a soldier in the British Army. And really nice first run from him. Not too over-controlling, which can always just slow the sled down a little. Dave Coleman, Keith McLaughlin and John Baines are the crew of the GB2 sled. He won't be at the first race after Christmas in Altenburg, but after that, we anticipate seeing him in the rest of the World Cup season and the World Champs. Kaylee Humphries' GB2 sled started at 6:01 in the first heat. That was a nice, neat-looking load, 6:04 in the second. .4 kilometers at the start. That's a decent start speed down into the first couple corners on this track. He's definitely going to look to fix up a few of the mistakes that he had first run and try and make it smoother and hopefully move up in the ranks. You know, we talked about in the first heat, younger drivers driving in a kind of mechanical process. You get to a corner, you know where you've got to steer, and you do it almost by routine, but it takes a while to get the feel. 1:29.4, that's good speed. That's a kilometre an hour and change faster than they were in the first heat. His first run, 59.76. This is tidier, just about keeps away from the wall in the only straight section of the track. And a 59.56, 0.2 of a second of an improvement. Pete Gunn will be happy with that, and Lamond Dean should really be happy with that.
Yeah, great way to start 4-man off.
And of course, unlike the Europa Cup where he's been sliding, the second tier of sliding, he will now have to go into the leader's box. Might need to be reminded.
Great start here by these guys. I mean, you can really see the power and the running style and technique. They're really trying to push. This start is exceptionally long. You see Lamond reach across, trying to get into best position, and he really you just kind of get yourself tucked in as fast as you can. All three guys behind him, in and down, no problems.
There he is. Keith McLaughlin, John Baines, both from the RAF, Lamond from the Army. Next up, Lyndon Rush of Canada. Definitely not the morning he wanted. Cody Sorensen, Jesse Lumsden, Neville Wright. They started gangbusters, 5:89. And after that, it went downhill and not in the right way.
No, they're going to definitely look to start a bit faster on this one. We'll see what they can do. 5.91. Slow with getting that push bar in. Again, not a big deal. You don't want to rock the boat at all or have any little sideways movement. So everything is real slow and real ginger at the top from any of the guys sitting 2, 3, or 4th position.
Well, yesterday in the two-man race, the previous year's winner, Thomas Florschutz, was tied for 19th. He was second off, and he just put in a storming run. He stayed in the leader's box right the way up to 6th position. Now, that's exactly what Lyndon has to produce now, a big, big drive.
He definitely is. He's doing a great job so far. Definitely moving up the ranks, increasing that lead, but he's going to want to keep moving up and keep doing it. Again, 15-16, causing some issues for Lyndon here in 4-man. First run and second run, we see him come out of 15, go trill into 16, and then shoot straight up to the roof, highest lines we've seen, and just taking the long way around.
Oh my goodness, and he goes behind. Lamond Dean and the crew of Great Britain stay in the leader's box. 20th place for Lyndon Rush.
Yeah, I think we definitely, his major issue, corner 15-16, Omega down at the bottom of the track, that's really where he lost all of his time. Comes into here, just shoots straight up, comes straight down. I think he almost hit even the short wall in the bottom
on the
part.
inside. Yeah, you saw the sled bounce there.
That is where he lost everything, and those are not, you know, decent bottom at all. He's going to be upset with himself on that. The guys pushed great, you know, decent starts. Overall, not the best, not the strongest performance we've seen from them, but definitely lost it in the drive.
GB2, Lamond Dean leading the race, and what a scalp to take in your first World Cup ahead of Lyndon Rush. Even on a bad day, Lyndon Rush is still a good driver to be ahead of. Next up, Simone Bertazzo of Italy. Bertazzo didn't have the most favourable of start draws, came off 19th at the start, with a 6.07 getaway.
You see Simone, this is the only sled I believe that we see that has all those holes in the push bar. Again, you're trying to lighten the load. You want this sled to be as light as possible, and having a solid metal push bar doesn't exactly help that. And so you're really trying to cut weight as much as possible. There is a minimum weight for the sled, so it can only be a specific amount. I'm not sure what it is for 4-man, but I know that there is a minimum weight, but you want that sled to be right on minimum weight, so the difference is and can be with the big guys.
Well, the maximum weight, of course, includes the crew, so the lighter the sled, right down to minimum, means the more beef you can put in, and as we understand, of course, mass pushes mass much more easily. The heavier the crew, the lighter the sled, theoretically the faster start. 1100's up on Lamond Dean, 129.4, same speed as the British sled, and 1200s, that should be just enough to carry him into the lead. Oh, a skid, could be close, but he might just about hang on to that 10th of a second advantage. He does, and opens it up a little bit, so it's goodbye to GB2, and hello to the Italians in the leader's box.
Decent run by Simone. You knew that was going to happen. He's a great pilot. He's got the experience. Bit behind at the start, but again, they'll just look to make that better each and every week, and then you'll see him move up the ranks for sure as well.
Antonio Tartaglia, former Olympic champion brakeman, is their fitness coach.
Comes out, gets a little bit early on again, but minimizing that damage of how high you see the brakeman move. You see the sled start to skid. You see Simone grab those runners. You can see the runner tips move a little bit. Slight skid, just trying to prevent any further damage.
Oh. Now, what has he done to himself? He had a hamstring injury when we came here this time last year, and he was sat in the sled. That's not Simone. I thought it was for a moment. That is Luca Pagin. Next up is Jurgen Loacker of Austria. And again, Loacker with a low start draw earlier on in the first heat. 14th off. Crew started 6.12, and again, Kelly Humphries, that's a long way from being competitive with the front runners.
It is. Those push bars stayed all the way around corner one, but better that than trying to move and push him in and cause a skid. You got to go straight in the first couple of corners and not have any major bumps, hits, or skids to keep that speed that you've given it at the start to keep going. Starting isn't their strength, but he's a great driver, so he'll look to bring that time back.
Wow, getting very close. And here we've got, I mean, a battle of equals pretty much. Pato and the Austrian Loacker, very similar in starts, very similar in drives. 129.9, that's good speed. 0.05 of a second, still the blink of an eye, and that might have gone there. Wow.
1/10 of a second, great drive by Jurgen Loacker. He's got the experience, he's been driving for a while, you know he's able to bring it back. Really what separates him from the top field is the start, so he should be pretty happy with that. You can see his visor kind of fogged. He's got that second skin, the second shield in there that's preventing the little viewing screen from fogging up. Hence why I wear goggles, but not everybody chooses that. Most people enjoy the visor, and that's the risk that you run.
Well, this is the only straight section of the track once you've started, Kaylee, and he just rattles the wall.
He does. He rattles it, but his guys stay tucked. He goes in and, you know, continues to go straight, no major skids. That's minor deductions for what could have been.
Jurgen Loacker in the leader's box, Kelly Humphrey in the commentary's box. And here now is Dmitry Abramovich, the driver of Russia 3. One stage, it looked like we were going to have Russia first and second in the race until Hefti of Switzerland took the lead. But Abramovich, a long way from top 10 finish at the moment.
Russians down in before corner one, 5.9 far start. Good start. I mean, we'll see here in a second with the speeds, but down and in 67.8, high speed for the top section of the track. Doesn't get much better than that.
Well, it used to be the case that you always looked to the Russians as having exceptional starting, faster even than the Germans and the Swiss, and that sort of drifted away in the last 3 or 4 years, but now they really are starting very strongly again to give even their young drivers like Abramovich, the 25-year-old, you know, the best chance of getting a good run in.
Definitely. Abramovich used to be, you know, former junior world champion, so you're going to see him come up. He's got a year until Sochi. I mean, he is Russia 3, and he still is within the top 20 and up there. He doesn't have quite as strong as a start time as what the other sleds have, but you're gonna see them work very hard in order to.
Loacker moves up one. Team look pretty happy with that. 100th of a second from 1300s up. That graveyard of time at the bottom really caught out Abramovich. In the background, incidentally, in the yellow, André Lange commentating for the German TV, so it's Olympic champions all over the place today.
It is. It's always great to see. See him get in. Pilot gets in, nice smooth entrance. Number 2 guy jumps in. 3 guy right behind him, 4 in and down. You see all of them load.
Oh,
you see the shock by the 1/100th of a second. That could have come from anywhere on the track.
Well, again, as you say, you know, when Zubkov retires, and surely he will after Sochi, then Abramovich will be definitely looking to step up and vie for that #1 spot. Next up, Nick Cunningham, the California surfer, turned bull rider, turned bobsledder. There's an athletic progress for you. Jurgen Loacker and Austria are our race leaders. Kaylee Humphreys in the booth alongside me here, calling the action. Cunningham, great start for this team, USA 2, 5.89 getaway in the first heat. You know they'll want to shave some time off that if they can. That was smooth as silk as well, good load.
5.85, great start, great load. Those crew guys have given it everything they've got. Hung it a little bit high on corner 3 into corner 4, but again, doesn't seem to phase him. He got it back in control out of corner 4. Corner 4 is a long corner, still on track.
Well, driving a Latvian-built BTC sled rather than the American sleds he's been used to, the Bodine Project sleds. So starting to get the feel for this sled now.
I think so. I think we're starting to see it. He's starting to feel a little bit more comfortable being, you know, one of the top sleds. He had great results in North America, so you really see him start to get a little bit more comfortable with his positioning and in amongst some of the best in the world. And, you know, hopefully we'll see him move up a little bit. This is a great run. Nice exit out of 18 into 19, this last finish corner, the only straight on the track.
Just held on. He was 3700s up at one stage, just came in 300s in front of the Austrian Jurgen Loacker. But again, the first thing, Kaylee, when you're wherever you are, last or first, is you want to hold your position. You don't want to give anything away because that's freebies for someone else. And then you want to try and move up.
Definitely. I mean, moving up and having a better run than your first run is always ideal, and or having a consistent run if your first run was good. But definitely you want to outdo all your competitors, and so you're always looking, although it's an individual sport and it's you on the track versus the track in that day, you definitely don't want to give anything away.
Look at that, just heard their start time. So they outstarted and outdrove themselves in the second heat. Big smiles all round.
Huge smiles.
Nick Cunningham of the USA leads with 6 of our 20 sleds gone, round 5 of the 4-man bobsleigh World Cup. And next up at the top of the ice, the familiar colours of Team Canada. Your teammate Chris Spring, Canada 2. Just a bit of a choppy ride. I mean, the start was good, but it just didn't flow.
It just didn't. The start was average. I mean, 6 seconds. They're a tenth behind some of the top guys, and they're really going to need to drop that this run if they have any chance of wanting to move up. And Chris definitely, he's going to need to improve his first run. Not the best first run, not bad, but they're going to want to just make improvements kind of all around.
Spring still recovering from injuries in a crash in Altenburg in the middle of last season. Oh, little late load. Luke Dimitri at 2, struggling to get in, and that's going to be reflected in their momentum through the first speed clock as well.
It definitely is. 6:14. This is not what we're used to seeing from these guys. We're used to seeing better starts.
Well, unfortunately, like Lyndon, they're having a bit of a horrible Sunday morning.
They definitely, this is not where I like to see my teammates, definitely anyways, but...
Wow, half a second back at the moment. 7th of our 7 sleds. 6th of our sleds so far on time is Lyndon Rush of Canada. Ooh! Well, he's a little faster at the bottom than he was on the first run. I don't think the boys are going to think this is a comfortable trip in any way, though.
No, definitely not. Driving's going well. This is definitely a lot better of a run for Chris Spring than we saw from first run. It's just not quick. I mean, he made up some time at the bottom. Generally, though, everything that came down to it, that was the load. That was the top of the track, being hung up in the first corner one, but definitely the start time, a 6:14, you just can't compete when everyone else is putting up 85s. That's way too far off. A bit of a rough entrance in through here. This is probably the worst corner that we saw him actually go into, but everyone seems to be hitting that bump, so it's something that in a 4-man I just don't think you can really avoid.
Getting spiked in the load. Who's that? Oh, that's Chris as well.
Chris.
Yeah. Last thing you want is to pick up injuries before Christmas. Of course, at least you get a week to try and recover from them, but looking pretty stiff there. Nick Cunningham goes over to offer his assistance, hit the race leader. As next we see the Dutch sled. Well, there were 2 Dutch 2-man sleds, but only 1 in the 4-man competition at the moment. Edwin and Arnold van Calker, the brothers, joined by Simon Jansma and Jeroen Pik. There's Nick Cunningham, your race leader. Well, Van Calker didn't race in Whistler because he tore a hamstring, and we hoped it was getting better. He looked pretty stiff at the end of the first run, and Kaylee, there's an indication that he did more injury to himself in that first heat. He's sitting in.
Definitely did. Anytime a pilot chooses to sit in, I mean, you know in race day you're hurting, and you're hurting really bad. He's really just trying to hang in here, finish the race, and just really get points. That's about it.
you know with the 6:45 start and when you have to sit in, there's not much you can do but just try and finish the race and hang on.
Well, he sacrificed himself in the first heat because he had to fight to get into the top 20, which he did. Now he knows he won't drop out of the top 20 no matter how bad the run is. So now he can afford to sit in.
Yeah, definitely.
It does
more
mean
strategic in that sense.
It does mean for Lyndon Rush and for Chris Spring that they probably won't finish at the bottom of the pile. At the moment, they are tied last. Probably don't want to mention that too often. 1:28.5, still good speed at the bottom. They were only 1:29.0 in the first heat. So the sleds do accelerate hard, but not enough to keep them in contention. And that's another spot for the Americans. Well, 4/10 slower than when they were pushing in the first heat. And they've come down pretty much a second slower.
Yeah, that's expected when your pilot's sitting in. Not much you can do. You've got 3 guys trying to push a whole extra, 100+ kilos in that sled. Plus, you don't have that extra momentum.
You take away a quarter of the power and you add a quarter of the weight back into the sled. So, yeah, it's a lot for them to do.
Bit of a hit there. We seem to be seeing a lot of the guys do that one as well.
Well, Simona Pato had to do the same with the 4-man last year. At least the Dutch handles didn't break on the brakes, because they did with Pato. The brakeman pulled the handles on, they snapped, he just shot straight out through the finish area. Well, next up, Ugis Zalims, Latvia 2. Started 21st in the field of 28 sleds. Good run, a lot of which started here. 5:86 getaway, Kaylee, really quick.
Yeah, the Latvians are a strong force to be reckoned with at the start. They are, it's just awesome to watch and see. Bit of a hang up there, loading in, but not bad, and they managed to sort it out extremely quick, in and down before corner 1. They know what they're doing at the starts.
67.7, they were 67.9 through that speed trap in the first heat. It was a little bit wobbly through 2 and 3 compared to the first run. Even off an identical start.
This is where consistency as a pilot comes in. Having those identical starts, but being able to match, if not better, after first run. And he's a young pilot. He's up and coming. He's still learning and trying to figure it out. The more runs he gets, A, in this sled, B, down any track possible, and just being put in those scenarios and, see driving here.
Speed's not great. This is going to be very close. 800s down to 600s. Hits the wall. This might be another scalp for Nick Cunningham and USA 2. Is he behind? No! That's what they thought as well. Yeah, and Sanders Bruce's as well. Yeah, chuckling away at that 100th of a second. Zalims just clings on.
It's close racing here today. Different to see, especially on such a long track. A little bit off, but I mean, 100th of a second, that's less than the width of a hair. With 4 huge dudes from the start all the way down the track, you never really know where that 100th could have come from.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. He just somehow clung on. Nothing like as fast a run as Cunningham's 59.43, but the first round advantage helped him stay in the lead. So 9 sleds down of our 20 in this second heat here in La Plagne. And the 10th is Justin Kripps. Canada 3 was the top performing Canadian sled in heat 1. Second week in a row he's had a good 4-man drive. 10th place after in a 3-way tie for 10th. Let's just remind everybody. So not joint, but a 3-way 10th place split. Let's see if he can avoid the jinx that has fallen on Canada 1 and Canada 2.
We'll see. These guys are down in an awesome load, 5.89, another great start. These guys are an amazing team together. Being able to work with them and see them and how they work on a regular basis, they're really bonding as a team, and you're seeing that. In 4-man, it is different. You do have to be close with your teammates. You have to understand and know the little intricacies that work with it, and they're blasting it at the start, which is awesome. All 3 of these guys, really impressive for new guys.
Well, the start was identical. First corner momentum was identical. coming back at the leaders, just 0.03 of a second behind Ugis Zalims. They were tied in the first heat to the 100th. 0.02 of a second, 1:27.6. That's quicker than the Latvians were going. This could be the Canadians moving into the lead.
Only 300s behind, but Kripps is having an awesome run. Big skid, 18-19. I think that honestly is what's going to cost him. He had a great run up until that point, but definitely, you know, that was what cost him a little bit. The straightaway is what got him.
Look how tight it is. He's 500s behind. He's dropped 4 spots. Zalims leads by 100th from Cunningham. Loacker 400s back. And Abramovich and Kripps tied in 4th, 500s back. It's so tight here, Kayla.
Yeah, that huge skid from 18-19, that definitely cost him those 500s, if not probably closer to a 10th. And that's what dropped him. But that's racing, and that's our sport, and that's what's possible. But definitely, this is still an awesome weekend. They pushed great, and Justin drove awesome.
It is Ugis Zalims who leads the race. We still have 10 sleds to come here in La Plagne. And last to go will be Hefti, the leader after the first heat.
2 minutes break, 2 minutes break, 2 minutes de pause. Prochain départ dans 2 minutes. Next start in 2 minutes. Les spectateurs soyez les bienvenus si vous nous rejoignez à l'instant. C'est la deuxième manche de compétition Coupe du Monde. C'est à la Plagne, dernier jour de compétition de Coupe du Monde. Avec une petite pause de 2 minutes, puisque nous sommes en direct sur de nombreuses télévisions dans le monde. Et ça s'appelle une pause pub. Allez, une info luge. Coupe du Monde et un bravo à Morgane Bonnefoy qui s'est qualifiée pour sa deuxième Coupe du Monde. Elle a terminé de bien ainsi en Lettonie.
Auf geht's, Jungs, jetzt! Komm her!
Le 22 décembre. Bravo à Morgane Bonnefoy de la Plagne.
Auf jetzt!
Une minute. Clear the track, please. Thank you. Dans 1 minute. Dégagez la piste, s'il vous plaît. Merci. Reprise de la compétition dans 1 minute. Deuxième manche de compétition Coupe du Monde à la Plagne. Clear the track, please. Thank you. Dégagez la piste, s'il vous plaît. Merci. Coupe du Monde à la Plagne avec Nisman, Savoie-Mont-Blanc, à Opora, la région Rhône-Alpes, la Fédération française des sports de glace, Adidas, Omega, Orange, piste olympique de la Plagne et bien sûr la FIBT, la Fédération internationale de Bobsleigh et Tobogganing. FIBT. From Germany, Manuel Machata, Gregor Bergman, Christian Friedrich, Christian Poser. Track is clear, piste libre.
Wiesmann FIBT World Cup number 5, men's 4-man bobsled in La Plagne, France. Martin Haven and Olympic champion Kaylee Humphries calling the action again. And Manny Machata, who was in the medals, in the gold medal position last year, is 10th. There's your race leaders, Ugis Zalims on the left and the crew of Latvia 2. Machata was in a 3-way tie for 10th place after Heat 1. Kaylee Humphries, a medal? You got to be kidding me.
They're still a long way off, but start times just aren't where they have been in the past. You see number 2 right over top of Manu, and he can't grab the D-rings, which is a dangerous position, because if you can't grab those D-rings, you don't have control of the sled. So especially as you come out of the grooves and head into corner 1. Not dangerous in the fact that you could crash out of corner 1, just you could have one of those huge skids that we've seen repeatedly on this track that will just absolutely kill your time.
They started 5.99, 100th better than their 6-second first start. And actually, do you know what? Almost that just says why he's not leading the race. Fastest starters are down 5.80s, 5.70s. He's going quick, but he's only just overhauled the young Latvian. 1:28.1. He did 129 kilometers an hour in the first heat. It's not enough. He's gone behind. He hits the wall. He's not going to make the top 10. Oh, he is by 200ths of a second, 59.52. Well, this is last year's race winner for Germany. Germany swept the podium last year. they'll be lucky to be in the same postal code as the podium this year.
Yeah, not quite where we're used to seeing Manu. He's an excellent driver, just really behind in the start times for sure.
This is not a position any of the German athletes or coaches are used to being in, Kaylee, where they're behind at the start and then at the finish.
Yeah, you see the number 2 guy get in, and you see Manu, he just can't get his arms in, and they're stuck between him and his helmet. It's very tight, and you don't have that extra space, and with number 2 guy right over top of you, kind of pushing you in, and everyone trying to get in.
That's him, Gregor Birnbach, the number 2 guy. Yeah, he knows that didn't help. Well, next up, Rico Peter of Switzerland. Started 15th of our 28 sleds in the first heat, and in 9th spot. Both Swiss sleds in the top 10. Thomas Ruff, Michael Kiel, Simon Friedli. They're the crew. Simon Friedli only just got into the back of the sled in the first start, though. Of course, Kaylee, that left-hand push bar, as you look at it from behind, the right-hand side now, that didn't go in. Look how quickly they got it in this time.
They did. Right one stayed out, but the left one was down, and I think it was just out for them to push, and as soon as you released pressure off of that push bar, it snapped in. They just tried to make the best of a situation until they can get back and actually fix it. Between first and second run, there's not much time or much you can do. Don't have a lot of your tools at the top, and you're really just trying to make do. But made the best of his situation, and you see him, you know, ahead at this point because of it.
29-year-old Rico Peter leading Germany 3, last year's winner Manuel Machata, and staying in front. 900s up at the start. Ooh, again, that hammer, really, when you see 690 kilos of sled bouncing in the air, you know that's a hard hit, and that was a nasty corner.
Definitely do. He's having an awesome run. He is just flying down here. Great 18 to 19. I mean, Rico Peter is doing what he can. That is a huge lead advantage. He should be very, very happy with that run, and with this result, I think that's going to move him up quite a few sleds.
No kidding, 59.15, that's a great slide. That would have put him well up into the top 6. Alexander Kasianov in the first heat was 59.14. He was 3rd, and to beat last year's winner by half a second, even with errors like that, my goodness.
Even with that, everyone seems to be hitting that bump, but everywhere else, he just let the sled run. Bit high, bit low. He's still within a lot of the main lines, though, here. Not the fastest speed that we've seen, but those sleds went off early, so you never know, you know, with the ice, what can happen.
Well, 129.9 was Bert Hefti's top speed in the first heat, the race leader. Rico Peter there, looking pretty happy, as well he should. Next up, Great Britain's John Jackson, firmly in the top 10 again after the first heat, with Stu Benter, Bruce Tasker. And is Ben Simons? Yeah, Ben Simons is on the back of the sled. Regular 4-man brakeman Andy Matthews is back in the hotel. Well, let's see if they can better that run by Rico Peter. He really threw the gauntlet down, the Swiss.
They really did. They had a great start and a great run, and we'll see what GB can do here.
Again, the start might be key to this. The Swiss started in 6 flat. This 4-man have never raced together. 5.88, another big start from Great Britain. I'm just enjoying this season so much watching these guys.
Yeah, they're really coming out strong. They're having a great season so far, and they've been getting better and better, so.
Jacko avoided the drama in the first corner that put a kink in his 2-man program yesterday, leading Rico Peter by 0.14 of a second, starting to pull away a little.
Only 700ths up now. This is when we really saw Rico Peter pull away from the rest of the field, and he just kept getting faster and faster and faster.
128.5, little slower than the Swiss sled, exactly the same speed as GB had in the first heat.
He's just not having as good of a run.
Let's see if he can keep the straight tidy. Little tap there. This is probably going to drop him back into second place. And indeed it does, but it's another top 10 finish for Team Great Britain. And no guarantee that there won't be mistakes from the sleds that are coming. But again, Jacko in front of last year's gold medalist Manuel Machata. Doesn't look thrilled with that, annoyed with a couple of errors that crept in on the run. Well, for a four-man crew that have not started before, to go from a 590 to a 588 is a good start, and the speed was not bad. Again, you see at 3, Bruce Tasker struggling to get in. But Rico Peter and his crew had a really good run. There is Jacko. He'll head home for Christmas and a well-earned break. And next up are our start monsters, Oskars Melbardis and the crew of Latvia 1. Came just 400ths off the all-time start record set in January 2002 by Martin Annan and his crew. Let's see what Melbardis can produce. Well, Kelly Humphries, they've got the start. You know, they get fired off the top at unheralded speeds. He's just still not able to quite contain that pace all the way down the run.
Not quite yet, but I think the more experience that he's going to get, especially, I mean, we've got a year until the next Olympic Games. They're going to keep the starts up. Latvia is a force to be reckoned with at the starts. Huge 580, another great start by Latvia. And you're just going to see his driving is going to just get better because that's how it works. Hard to say. 68.1 kilometers per hour, huge speeds. So not only are they having fast starts, they're putting every little bit of power and energy into that sled and really transferring it down. And the loads are awesome, and that's what allows them to do it. So, you know, as time goes on, you're going to see the driving get better and better. But so far, he's having a great run. 2/10 ahead. See what he can do down at the bottom.
Ooh, again, a big hit on the hammer there. Gap down to 2/10. 1:29.0, little slower than Rico Peter. Just 1/10 of a kilometre an hour. The gap is coming down. He should still have enough momentum on board to take the lead away from the Swiss, and he does. Not by much. You don't have to win by much. So this Bruce is loving this. He's got 2 young drivers who are the fastest starters on the planet, and he knows, like every other coach, like with you, if you get the athleticism right, you can learn to teach them to avoid the walls.
You can. A lot of potential, and you're going to see it. He's only just started driving. This is year 3 for him as driving. So if they say it takes anywhere from 7 to 9, 8 to 10 years to become a good pilot, you're really only seeing him just at the very beginning of this, and he's already within the top pilots in the world. So he'll be one that'll be around for a while, and definitely one that when he figures it all out and can put it all together consistently will be hard to beat.
Yeah, the Russians will definitely have a look in their rearview mirror for him come Sochi. And again, we talked about this earlier, Kelly Humphries. You know, this is one team against a track, not against all the other teams. It's an individual sport almost, and so there's so much camaraderie because you're all in it together. And this was Thomas Florschutz yesterday, had a horror story. First off the hill in the 2-man, last year's race winner, only just made the cut. 4-man first run was a little better, though.
It definitely was. I seem to be holding up.
Oh, dear.
A harsh load by those guys. Took them a long time to get down in. We'll see what the speed is and if they're in and amongst, you know, the best. 67.7, that's pretty average. Nothing great, especially from these guys where we're used to seeing them. These are 3 of the fastest, some of the fastest guys on tour, and so you're used to seeing that speed a little bit more. That definitely, you know, is taken away when you can't load properly.
Well, they are still trailing the Latvians. 1,500 meters of ice, 19 turns. There is room to try and drive himself back into contention, and he's not got the speed. Latvians were 1:29 flat. That's it. It's done. There's surely nothing he can do now. Oh, and that was ugly. Oh, and that's the end of it. And he's probably not even going to finish second. He may well end up behind Rico Peter. He's 4th. Behind John Jackson of Great Britain, who moves up another spot. There's no Yarvol there from track record holder Kristoff Langen. That's not the way you do it, guys.
He's not going to be happy with that run. That run had a few major mistakes. He got all the little ones under control, but a few major ones that really just cost him time everywhere.
And
you see Thomas get in, second guy gets in, third guy, and he just can't get down. Brakeman gets in, but third and second guy can't get down and in, ended up staying high. Didn't fully load until all the way around corner 1. That cost him a lot of speed and a lot of time on the top section of this track where it is flat. You see him come down harsh off of 16, really whip it there into 17. That's a lot of extra sideways movement. They're not going to be happy with that.
Those guys, that'll have felt like they were in a tumble dry. And Thomas there with his back to us, shakes his head.
He's not used to driving like that at all, and they're used to having better and faster loads, so they'll definitely fix that for the next time around.
Okay, top 5 time now. Steve Holcomb, the Olympic 4-man champion, the world champion in 4-man as well. 5th place after the first heat. And the night train with Justin Olsen, Steve Langton, Kurt Tomasevich trying to beat these guys, our race leaders, Oskars Melbardis, and the crew of Latvia 1. And there's just 400s between them and Rico Peter in 2nd place, so you either beat them both or beat neither of them, I would suggest. See what the night train's got for us this afternoon.
590 start, great start from these guys. They were down and in by corner 1. They're going to have a good speed at the top, and Holcomb's a great pilot, so there's a lot of potential here for him to do good, but anything is possible.
Well, they were only 700s in front of the Latvians after the first heat, so when he sits down, Holcomb is already at a deficit. He's got to drive better than Melbardis without the speed at the start.
And that is possible. This track is long. There are a lot of corners, and Holcomb does know what he's doing. He's probably the most experienced pilot, if not one of the most experienced pilots on tour.
He has got to start closing. 1:28.5. The Latvians were 1:29. He's not got the speed. He's behind, and he's going slower. He will get further behind, perhaps.
I don't think he is going to run out of track and run out of time.
19 corners and 1,500 meters, not enough. Oskars Melbardis is getting closer to the medals. 4 to go, he still leads, and that 59.38 slide, Kaylee, a 10th worse than their first run, off an identical start.
Yeah, not the best, cleanest run we've seen Holcomb do. He's not going to be super happy with that. Overall,
well, he is, as I predicted, not second either. He is 3rd behind Melbardis and Rico Peter. There's only 400s between them. It's very hard to get in amongst them.
it is. It's very hard. They didn't have the top start speed, which is not what we're used to seeing from these guys. We're used to seeing them a little closer to the top and a little closer to the Latvians. High speed at the bottom. I mean, he's over a kilometer behind at the bottom as well. Speed just wasn't with Wilkie today.
Was not finding the force. Latvia lead, 3 to go. After Max Arndt. And will Arndt be able to claim Germany only their 2nd medal of the weekend? Just one German has taken a medal. Marion Tace tied for silver in a women's skeleton. The men have produced nothing. Their women's bobsled produced nothing. 5:9.0 start.
Good start time. Guys got in and down. Driver's push bar stayed out a little long.
68.1 in the first corner. That's the same as their first heat, Kelly, and that was the fastest speed we saw.
That was. So great loads, best loaders, and they're really every little bit that they put into the top, they really took it into the first couple corners, which is what needs to happen.
500s ahead of Melbardis, 400s ahead of Melbardis. Okay, here we go. Now he's starting to turn the screws. A 10th up.
Yeah, Max knows how to drive. He really does. He's just been getting stronger and stronger the longer he's been on World Cup.
Well, he was 600ths of a second off a medal in the first heat. He is opening up a big margin over Oskars Melbardis that even that skid won't take away. But will that be enough to deny Germany a medal in the 4-man? 59.05, 1,500s quicker than his first slide. There's the first Jarvol, perhaps at the weekend, I think, from Kristoff Langen. As a driver, he was completely implacable. You never knew what he was thinking. As a coach, though, it's written all over him.
It definitely is. They all should be very happy with this, as you can see that they are. Good drive by Max, a good start by all of those guys. I mean, that definitely makes it hard for Kasianov, Zubkov, and Hefti coming up. A little bit of a tap and a skid there, but he sorted it out. You can see on Kristoff, not the happiest person with that little bit of a skid, but that was minor compared to what could have happened.
Max Arndt and the crew of Germany 2 lead the race. Don't forget, Germany swept the podium. Machata, Arndt and Florschutz going 1, 2, 3 last year, and they're still not even guaranteed a medal. That might slightly rely on what's going on between the ears of Alexander Kasianov, Russia 2. 4th here last year, just off the podium. And he lies third after the first heat. Arndt on the left and the crew hoping for a medal, hoping they've done enough. Kasianov needs to step it up for a second time today. Okay, this is beyond tense. They're so close after the first heat.
So close, down and in, 586. Great start, great load. The speed is definitely going to be the key we'll see up here, but there's no reason why it's not going to be top. 68.2. That's huge. Awesome speed.
Faster than we've seen from anybody in the competition. They were 500ths of a second quicker than their first heat at the start. They've got better momentum. The crew have given Alexander every chance to put them in the medals.
They definitely can. Now it's going to be up to him. So far, he seems to be holding it together. Pressure is not getting to him. He knows what's at stake, but he's doing a great job.
Nice, smooth entry there over the hammer. 129. Arndt was quick.
It's going to be close. Holding his 700s ahead. It's going to come down to out of this corner here.
Oh, tiny little skid. This could be down to the 100th of a second. Who's going to lead? It's the Russians. They hold on with a 59.04 slide.
That's awesome to see from Kasianov.
Guaranteed himself a bronze medal at the very least. 2 Russian sleds in the top 3 in the first heat. And look at that. Look at that. He knows that was golden. What a great drive. He really felt that all the way down, Kaylee. And you may not know the time, but when things are flowing, surely you know it's going well.
You definitely can feel it as a pilot. You know when things are going well. You can see he just kind of gets a little bit lower down in through that straightaway, trying to save aerodynamics a little bit. Lost no time there. 2 very, very consistent starts. That crew did an awesome job of giving Kasianov the best chance to drive. And he, you know, as a pilot, he held it together. Drove 2 consistent lines. That's what it takes. I mean, he's up against big dogs with Zubkov and Hefti now, and he's done everything he could possibly do. But a bronze medal, at least to walk away with, is very impressive, and he should be very happy.
Kasianov beat Zubkov here last year in 4-man. He beat Zubkov yesterday in 2-man. Okay, enough of that. Alexander Kasianov leads. Alexander Zubkov undefeated in 4-man so far this season. Now, you've come from behind in 1 heat last week in Winterberg, from second in heat 1 to take the gold and continue your streak. He needs to do exactly the same. How's he going to do it?
It's going to come down to consistency, you know. I mean, there's not much of a difference between Zubkov and Hefti. He's really going to go for the gold. 579, awesome start, and a great load. Again, these Russians really know what they're doing, and I think we're going to see that in the speed times. Let's see what's the speed. 68.4, huge. That's an awesome speed time. They're really, I mean, they've given it, the crew's given it everything that they can, and Zubkov has the experience and he knows how to drive. I think this is going to be really impressive. He's gunning for Hefti, and he really is, he doesn't want to lose.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, he came from behind last week and claimed the gold medal. And you're right, he's kind of ignoring Kasianov. His sights are on trying to bridge that 2100 somehow to bear Hefti and Swiss one. Oh, great run. Still only 129 kilometers an hour, though. We haven't seen the 129 4s or 5s from the first heat.
We haven't. He's got it. 1700s up now. Let's see. A bit of a tab and a skid and another tab right before 18. That's not going to be ideal. He's definitely going to stay above and right where, you know, he is. But now pressure's on Hefti. See what happens.
Well, the Russians are going to take another 2 medals here. They've got a silver medal so far from Alexander Tretyakov in the men's skeleton. Nothing from the bobsleigh team yesterday.
They've put themselves in a great position. This start is awesome. Not only, you know, a good, strong start time, but definitely the velocity, all that power, all that force that you see right there is being put in. 68.4 speed down into corner 1. That's huge.
Fastest 2 starts in terms of pace they carry down the ice from the 2 Russian crews.
You see him come across, he hits, you see him trying, you see those runners move, he's trying to straighten it out. At this point, you're just trying to do what you can and get to the finish line as fast as possible.
Zubkov looks confident and relaxed, doesn't he? He's really in the form of his career at the moment.
He did everything he could, and now pressure is on Bet.
Well, with the 2100s lead, despite the improvements from Zubkov, Hefti has to give this away. A Swiss coach is saying to somebody, get out of the ice. Don't know who was up there. Certainly wasn't our cameraman, as you can clearly see. Wow. Baird Hefti, it's his race to win or lose.
He's been in this position before. He knows how to handle pressure. He's an experienced brakeman, crewman, pilot. He's done it all. He's been around for a while. So we'll see if he can keep it together. 5.83, not as strong as what we saw the Russians. Let's see the speed clock as he comes around kind of corner 3. 67.9, again, not as fast as we saw the Russians just do, so he's got some work to do down on the track.
Bit wiggly and wavy, 2100s up from the first heat, 1700s remained, 300s.
He's got 300s up now, so he's lost a bit of it, but we definitely saw the drive. He let that sled run, and it was fast first run. Hopefully he can do it again this second run.
This is a random run from Baird Hefti. This is a training run that should have been left in training. It's not a good drive. 129.4, faster than the Russians. Is it enough to hold on?
He's got the speed, though. He's faster than anybody else on this track. So potential 600s up. It's going to come down. He had a better straightaway than Zubkov does. It's this last corner, and I think he's going to walk away with it.
Oh, by 900ths of a second, he takes the gold medal. But Zubkov, the only man in the second heat to get down below a 59-second run. Hefti did enough in the first heat to give himself that margin. And boy, Kenny Humphries, he needed it. He blew almost all of his 2100s advantage.
He did. He definitely needed it. Their start wasn't as strong, and they definitely didn't have the speed that the Russians had at the top. But, you know, he kept his cool, calm under pressure, but knew what he was doing. He knew how to drive. He let the sled run and fly, and it was moving fast today for sure.
Wow. The Swiss are thrilled with that. Gold medal goes to Baird Hefti, Alex Baumann, Thomas Lamparte, and Jörg Egger. Switzerland won, victorious. Russia second and third. Best German driver in fourth, Max Arndt, ahead of Oskars Melbardis and Rico Peter. So 2 Russians, 2 Swiss, 1 German sled, and the Latvian in the top 6. Stephen Holcomb 7th for the USA. John Jackson 8th for Great Britain. Thomas Florschutz and Manuel Machata for Germany 9th and 10th. And just to remind you, Germany swept the podium last year in the 4-man. Wow, what a difference 12 months has made. What a difference Baird Hefti has made. Didn't race in a 4-man last year. Made no mistakes in the 4-man this year.
No, he's definitely improved his driving, so it might have been smart. Stick with just 2 men, really focus on the driving skill of it, and you're seeing that in 4-man.
Wow. Coach absolutely thrilled with that. A French coach watching his driver win on French ice. Baird Hefti by 900s over Alexander Zubkov. Didn't extend his advantage, almost gave it away, but kept his nerve. Russians claiming the other medals on the podium. Germany, not a great weekend for them. Stephen Holcomb 7th, John Jackson 8th. Nick Cunningham, good run in 12th place. Justin Kripps 14th for Canada. And the less said, I think, today about tied for 18th between Chris Spring and Lyndon Rush, the better. We'll be back with words from our top 3 after this. Stay with us.
Possibilités nous sont proposées pour descendre à la piste. Bobrart, le rendez-vous plaisir en famille ou entre amis, embarqué dans cette prochaine automobile et autofréné uniquement. 4 passagers et une descente environ 80 km/h pour une expérience incroyable au plus près de la place. C'est compétition Coupe d'Europe, puis Coupe du Monde à la Plagne. La Coupe du Monde qui se referme aujourd'hui dimanche. Je vous rappelle, rendez-vous 15.
Snowy La Plagne in the French Alps, the four-man bobsleigh World Cup round 5, and Alexander Zubkov goes home for Christmas without his unbeaten record, but still with the lead of the World Cup rankings from Steve Holcomb and Max Arndt, and Lyndon Rush and Chris Spring slumped down the order after a very disappointing day here. For John Jackson of Great Britain, 5th place at Christmas. They'd have taken that at the beginning of the season happily, and after just 2 races, Hefti up in 16th position. He has just claimed his first gold medal of the season. He is the man who stops the run of form of Alexander Zubkov of Russia. And Kaylee Humphries sitting alongside me. Kaylee, great start again from the crew. He had a big enough margin in the first heat, and boy, he needed it because the second run wasn't quite from the same top draw.
No, definitely not. Not as great as the Russians' second run, but it was enough. And sometimes that's all you need. Their speeds were faster than anybody else on the track. And, you know, that's what allowed them to win here today.
Well, they looked pretty happy with that. I'm sure they'll be pretty happy when we catch up with them. John Morgan is down there.
Jean-Marc Ganzer of the La Plagne Organizing Committee, manager of the track, giving away the flowers to our 3rd place team, Russia 2, Kasianov. And now over to Zubkov, the 2nd place flowers. Again, Jean-Marc Ganzer, giving away the flowers here on behalf of La Plagne. Great weekend of racing here, with the Swiss end up winning. Now, the flowers for the winner, Hefti. Okay, now 3rd place, first medal for you this season. First medal.
Да. Все прошло хорошо. Едем домой. Всем спасибо.
He says anything's possible. Congratulations. Now over to our 2nd place team, Alexander Zubkov. Santa Claus. Santa Claus. Yeah, silver medal is okay.
Нет, не окей. This problem one laufen, yeah. This have to this fast. Two laufen, this no problem. This fast is me. Все спасибо, болел за нас, делали все возможное.
He says he's not happy. He got beat, but Hefti was faster, and he congratulates him. Congratulations, Russia. Good first half of the season. Team behind Hefti. Now, in the first part of the start, in the second run, your lead was gone. On the bottom part of the track, though, good driving.
Ja, ich denke, ist das schönste Weihnachtsgeschenk, das wir jetzt uns machen konnten. Und es ist natürlich jetzt schön, über die Feiertage mit einem Sieg abzureisen.
He says this is the most beautiful Christmas present he could ever have, and now he can go home for the holidays and celebrate. Congratulations to Switzerland.
He gave the present to Hefti. In fact, he didn't, of course. Hefti took it. Well, Kaylee Humphries, fascinating racing this weekend. Zubkov's streak is at an end. Yours continues. Looking forward to seeing that continue in Altenburg, maybe.
Yes, me too. We'll see what happens, though. Every single week changes, and it's a different race next week, or in a couple weeks from now. But Christmas first, we focus on that. And a happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you to Kaylee Humphries and to everybody who's joined me in the booth this weekend. On behalf of John Morgan and the FIBT TV crew here in La Plagne, I'm Martin Haven saying thanks for being with us. Enjoy your Christmas. Join us the first weekend of January in Altenburg. Bye for now.